How's it going, guys? Ed Ricker here. It's no secret that I'm in the process of moving. In fact, this is the third time that I've said it in my videos. All my trinkets are gone. And so with a lot of boxes over there and a lot of, moving crates over there, I don't really have a whole lot to work with these days for videos. So what I wanted to do is a story time. Let's do it. Essentially, this is probably one of the more embarrassing moments of my life. And hey, let's just share it with more people. Let's make it more embarrassing. Why not? So, back in 2009, I was 20 years old and I was just heading into my junior year in college and I was going for my mass communications and broadcasting degree. Well, one of the requirements of that particular degree was to get an internship in the broadcasting field. And so at the time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do really. I was really into music. So I guess that's why I chose radio over some sort of television studio or something else I could have also been working on that would have pertained more to what I'm doing now. But regardless, I chose the radio path and I started working for Cumulus Broadcasting in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now, Cumulus at the time managed a couple different stations. In fact, I think it managed 4. Q98, Rock 103, Talk 640 AM, and Magic 106.9. My job as a promotions intern was to promote the channel through any means necessary, whether it was putting flyers on people's windshields, whether it was helping to organize various events, remote broadcasts, designing and facilitating contests for different listeners. It was a pretty cool gig, I suppose. And I helped organize the Calendar Girl competitions, so and I used to drive the rock truck, which was this big, huge truck. It's kind of like when you see those Doritos trucks, or those, Lay's potato chips trucks, those kind of trucks. And I got pretty good at it. I actually was able to traverse Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is where that was based out of, pretty well as a 20-year-old big truck driver. In retrospect, I wonder if I needed some sort of commercial license, like a driver's license, but anyway, that's beside the point. I remember there were a few times where people would see me driving the rock truck and they thought, oh, that's one of the guys, the guys on the radio. And they actually would ask for my autograph. I may have given a few autographs. So like I said, part of what we used to do was facilitate, run these remote broadcasts. I didn't really get on the microphone at all, but basically you can think about maybe if you're listening to some sort of radio station and there's the DJ and he's on the phone, like you can tell he's on like a cell phone, he's talking, he's like, "We're out at Fantasy Lake in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we have a bunch of prizes to be given away at 2 p.m., so listen up for that." And, basically a remote broadcast where you hear the radio personality at some event and they're promoting the event and promoting the location and they're organizing some sort of contest or giveaway or whatever. And it was our job as promotions interns to accompany these people and to help. And at the time, this particular remote broadcast was at Fantasy Lake Water Park in Hope Mills, North Carolina. It's a man-made lake, water park sort of situation. Lots of, water swings and slides and just a huge park in a man-made lake. And so our thing that we were doing was we had a bunch of pizza and we were just giving out free pizza to anyone who came by our little tent. We had set this little, tent that we had like these tables and chairs and we had megaphones and we were like, "Get your pizza, Q98, woo!" And people would walk up and we'd be like, here, that was our thing, giving out pizza. Well, the radio personality was with us and he was doing his remote broadcast call outs and he's like, "Here we're at Fantasy Lake Water Park and we're doing this and that, get your free pizza, blah, 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 blah." Well, at some point, he got the idea that we should do some sort of obstacle course from that swing to that slide to that jump to that swimming span to that other structure over there and back to the shore. And it was going to be a race and you could enter to win, I can't remember. It was either a cash prize or it was some sort of Q98 memorabilia. I can't remember. Regardless, he and I basically were like, yeah, we'll be on that dock and then we'll jump off and we'll swing over to there, we'll swim over there, we'll climb up onto there, and we're eyeballing it from the shore essentially, because this is a water park with a shore. So we're on the beach, and we're just kind of eyeballing it and thinking about the best way to go through this obstacle course to make it both challenging and interesting to people who are watching. Well, he gets on the megaphone and he asks for people to enter into this obstacle course race to possibly win whatever we were promoting at the time. And he calls everyone out of the water. Somehow he got authorization to call everybody out of this lake onto the shore. All right, everybody, get out of the lake. We're about to do an obstacle course, and Ed here is going to be demonstrating how we're going to do it. Are you ready, Ed? Yeah, I guess. All right, go get him. They sent me out to basically run the obstacle course after I just watched from the beach, essentially. I had not even been in the water that day. You know, how the obstacle course would go from beginning to end. Now, I had eaten pizza, in fact, quite a bit of pizza, and that was a problem. And that problem will become more apparent as I tell this story, because I was both out of shape and pizza heavy, and I had to swim and dive and jump and climb in front of hundreds of people as I was the only one out there in this obstacle course. I thought, okay, you know, I've done quite a bit of weightlifting in the past. Perhaps I'll be okay in terms of not running out of steam and drowning. But remembering all the different obstacle courses, that was something else. And remember, I hadn't even been in the water that day. Like, I had just changed into my swim trunks and was sent out there, you know, had no time to warm up, whatever. So I'm there up at the very top of this first obstacle starting point, and everyone's on the beach looking up at me, and there's the guy in the megaphone going, wah, 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 wah. And I can't hear whatever the hell he's saying. Now, there was a way that I could get to that initial pier without getting wet. There was actually like a walkway to the very first one. So when I jumped in, 25-foot drop into the water, that was the first time I had been in the water that day. So completely cold, you know, had not warmed up my muscles or whatever. And so I'm, you know, just swimming and thanking God that I had actually taken swimming classes when I was younger. I got up to level 5, by the way. Got to the next pier, climbed up the ladder and up onto this platform and started running across to the area where I was supposed to swing across, and instantly slip. And everyone's like, oh! You could hear it, like, and everyone on the shore was like, don't run! Because apparently that's a rule at water parks. You can't run on surfaces like that. Well, geez, I hadn't been to a water park in forever. I mean, hey, whatever. So I get to my first swing across area, and it's a swing, like a rope swing, but you're supposed to kind of like get onto it and pull the pulley, and somehow it's going to take you over because of how you pulled one rope and not pulled the other, and I didn't understand it, and I was literally pulling one and the other, and then the other, and then I kept asking the guy, because there was actually a lifeguard there, and I'm like, how do you work this? And he's like, oh, well, you know, you did that, you know, you did this. And I could not figure it out. I was like, please, just show me. Just pull it and show me. And you know, time is money, or what? Time is embarrassment, rather. And at that point in time, the people on the shore started chanting my name. Ed, 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 Ed. In any other environment, that would be freaking awesome, but not in that one. And that's when my heart started sinking. I said, this is not going to be a proud moment for Ed. If people are chanting your name in such a situation, no, not a good thing. Finally got on the swing, jumped off, bailed probably too soon, I don't know, but regardless, into the water, and then got up to the next pier, and then was starting to swim, and I was losing steam. And I remember that. At the point in time, I was swimming through this water, and I was feeling that fatigue set in. And I started to feel like perhaps I might have to get rescued by one of these lifeguards. I don't know if this guy from Q98 thought I was more fit than I was, or maybe I looked like a swimmer, or maybe I said yes too soon, too emphatically, I don't know. But regardless, I felt very heavy in the last leg of this obstacle course demonstration, and I finally got onto the beach. And I kind of flopped over on my back, kind of dramatically to be funny, but at the same time, I really needed that. I needed to just rest a second. And before I knew it, I started to feel a little queasy. Yeah, I ate pizza earlier, and
Oh no.
let's just say it wasn't sitting well. I made it to the bathroom running, but I puked right there in the toilet. And a couple people heard me, I'm pretty sure, but at the same time, I was so glad that I made it to the bathroom, because if I had puked in front of people, that would have really, really bummed me out a lot more than just looking like an idiot trying to traverse this obstacle course. That's pretty much it. No one saw me puke, but my gosh, they saw me bomb in terms of trying to like traverse this obstacle course. And I was so glad that they started the obstacle course before I puked, so that no one watched me run to the bathroom. They were all watching and cheering these guys who were going through this obstacle course just like I did. Moral of the story? There's always a moral, right? Moral of the story. If someone asks you to demonstrate something like that, and it could be physically challenging, warm up, get in the water beforehand, get used to it, and then on top of that, make sure you understand how to work the water swings. All right, guys, hope you enjoy my embarrassing story. Share your embarrassing stories in the comments below. I mean, do you have something that really kind of horrified you at the time that now you can look back and be like, yeah, that was ridiculous. Let's see your embarrassing stories down below in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Again, like I said, just impromptu story time, and the fact that my house is in a state that's not really production friendly, it's the best I can do. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and take care.